one of the reasons why I'm standing up here, Dr. Joe and I talked. He's like, you can go down there and talk. I was like, yeah, but I'm not as tall as you. And when I go down there, I can't see the heads of the people in the back. So I'm going to stay up here. Is that good? Yeah, because you can all see me, right? Great. So that song really, really touches me whenever I hear it. Because when we're raised in a community that is all about who can be the loudest, who can be the most showiest, who can put on the best show. And certainly when you grow up, as I did, in the entertainment industry, which is all about look at me, look at me, look at me, it's really nice when suddenly you realize that there is so much in the quiet that you can just sit back and listen and really absorb what is going on. And so for somebody like me with a type A personality, how many type A's do I have out here? Type A personalities, yeah. Where, it's really, I like doing things. I like speaking. I like singing. I like dancing. I like acting. I like all of that stuff. And then last week, on Sunday, we finished Sunday service, and I was feeling a little bit challenged vocally. And by the middle of the afternoon on Sunday, I had laryngitis. I had complete laryngitis. I couldn't speak at all. Now, if you know me well, you know that's a tragedy. I mean, Kevin, of course, was doing backflips, but I could not speak. I had no voice. And on Monday, I wake up and I teach mental muscle. I go right into spirit breath, and then I go right into teaching a dance class. Couldn't do any of it. And of course, now I'm looking at my life going, oh my God, I have to cancel everything this week. I have to cancel my classes because I can't sit and talk for 3 hours straight. So I had to cancel everything from Sunday all the way through till Thursday. And at first I was a little uncomfortable. I was like, I always ask myself when something goes on, I'm like, why? Do you do that? Something happens to you, it's like, okay, why do I have laryngitis? The answer I got was that the universe was saying to me, shut the hell up and listen. And I really heard that. I was like, shut the hell up. Hell is not a curse word. Shut the hell up and listen. And I was like, to what? Because I get very defiant with those voices. When the universe speaks, I'm like, really? So it's like, shut the hell up and listen. And I was like, to what? What do I need to listen to? And what I hear is, to yourself. I'm like, I'm always listening to myself. I'm always talking. Oh, I'm always talking. And I really got it. I was like, okay, I am going to listen. I'm going to take this time off. I am an overachiever. I work 24/7. I love what I do, so I have passion about it. But I had to say, just stop and listen. So here's a couple things I found out. The first thing I found out, that it's a very noisy world. Has anybody noticed that? If you get really quiet and you just shut up, the world is really loud and noisy. And I'm like, is it always like this? Or is it just when I have laryngitis? And I realized, no, it's always like this. It is always noisy. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but there is so much noise in the world competing for attention. We in Science of Mind call it race consciousness. And they're all speaking, and everybody is either in agreement or disagreement, and they just keep speaking and speaking and speaking, and suddenly you are in this atmosphere of energy where you are now a part of it. And when you're speaking and when you're interacting with it, you become part of race consciousness. Whatever's being said, whatever's being believed, whatever's being thought. So if you ever had those moments where you're like, why am I thinking this? It's because race consciousness is thinking this, and you have just followed the fleet right along with whatever's being thought. But when you really get quiet, which is why I picked that song too, a quiet thing. When you really get quiet, when you have to get quiet because perhaps you have laryngitis, you have a moment to listen. And I really listened this week. I was listening to my heart. I was listening to my soul. I was listening to my thoughts. I was listening to race consciousness. I was listening to everybody around me talking. It made me, it interested me that all of a sudden everybody had a lot more to say when I was around because I wasn't talking. So it made me really ask myself, could I get quieter in my life? So that's a question I have for you this morning. Could you get quieter in your life in order to hear what is there for you to hear? Really get quiet more often to just listen, see what's going on, what's really going on. One of the things I realized too was when I get quiet, how much there is to hear. And not just of the noise. The noise, I was able to deal with that and rise above the noise. But then when you rise above the noise, you start hearing beautiful, wise things. You start hearing about love and life and energy. You start hearing about your dreams, maybe that you've pushed down a bit. You start hearing about the desires you have. And you start hearing all of this stuff. And that was what my week was like. I was still able to be online, but even after a while, I was like, close my computer. I'm not going to. How many of you can be off your computer for like 5 hours in a row? Wow, you guys are so evolved. It's hard for me because I'm, dealing with 2 centers and all the things I do. So, but I would close it and I'd be done for 5 hours. And number 5, I have a tattoo of 5 on my arm. It's my daughter's number with me. And I just thought 5 hours. See if you can take 5 hours off of the grid where no one can talk to you and you can't talk to them. Just listen. It was a remarkable, remarkable week. So the question I had was, how much passion is there in the quiet? And so the title of my talk today is, In the Quiet of Passion. Because guess what? There is as much passion in the quiet as there is in the noise. There is as much quiet when you get really down to it in this field of energy that we all are. Because at the end of the day, we're not what we say. We're not even what we do. We're not the conversations we have. We're not the relationships that we build. We're none of it. We're energy. We're pure divine energy, creative energy that is constantly bubbling up from within, constantly ready for us to say yes to whatever passionate idea comes through us. But often, we're too busy. We're just a little too busy to hear it. I love when she sings, I don't hear the band and I don't hear the drums. The sounds we're told these moments bring. Happiness comes in on tiptoe. And I got it this week. I was so happy this week being quiet. This is really something for me. You're all like, I'm quiet all the time. What's your problem? I really am not quiet a lot. And, for those of you who do not know, that was my husband laughing at the idea that I'm not quiet. But it's true. But this week was, and I'm going to be a lot quieter going forward because I learned something really profound. This thing called quantum energy that I teach, this thing called quantum metaphysics, this understanding that it's all energy and it's communicating at all times. But you can't hear it if you're too busy in the relative world having the conversations and getting busy with the conversations and the noise. If you get away from the noise, you can start hearing what's going on. What's really going on? Do you ever get caught up in some event in your life, and then all of a sudden you're like, what's really happening here? Or how many of you have ever had an argument with someone that starts as something so tiny, and by the time you're done the conversation, both of you should be put in prison? Where it just goes and goes and goes, because it takes this energy of its own, and it takes one of you to step back and go, what's really being said here? What's really going on? That's the quiet I am talking about. So I found this quote from Oprah Winfrey, and go ahead and give me that, William. And it's this: passion is energy. That's all it is. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. So my question for you today is this. Yes, that is me. Posed for that. No, but it is the way I used to dance. I don't know if you all know, I was a ballet dancer in New York City, and I danced almost I still dance, but I probably can't do that anymore. Yeah. But the question I have for you today is, what excites you? If that's the quote, passion is energy, and it is. Passion is what energy is. You don't have to separate it and go, I'd like passionate energy as opposed to boring energy. No, you don't have boring energy. You have passionate energy inside of you. What you do with it is what makes it boring. So, passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. So, I got to tell you, I'm here asking you to ask yourself what excites you. And don't just take it as part of a talk. Oh, he asked me what excites me. What's the answer? Really challenge yourself. What excites me? And don't tell me, well, it used to excite me, but now I'm, 98, perhaps. Since I met our 98-year-old today. And he seems as excited as anybody I've met. So it's not about age, it's not about body type, it's not about career, it's not about anything. Is somebody else 98? You are not 98. Are you? No. Are you 98? 96. You're 96? What excites you? No, sir, I'm coming down. So really, tell me your name. Isla? I had to get close. You are 96? Who's your doctor? No, seriously, you're awesome. Can I touch you? So what excites you, Ida? Everything. It does, right? And that's how you got to 96 looking like this. Because life excites you. Can we give it up for... Oh my God, that is awesome. I said to somebody else 98 and I just saw her like pushing her neighbor. She's like, don't tell him. So really though, what excites you? Here's the thing, if you wake up in the morning and you're not excited, something's up. Seriously, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you notice is your aches and pains, anybody? Yeah, something's up. Because frankly, if life excited you, the aches and pains would go away. I believe that. When the mind knows what excites it, we don't have time. You're like, I don't have time for that pain. It might be there, but it's like, I don't have time for that anymore. So what excites you? And I have the next quote by Oprah Winfrey. It was an Oprah Winfrey morning for me. The biggest adventure you will ever take is to live the life of your dreams. Which begs the question, what are your dreams? Do you still have dreams? I think we can get to a certain age, and I'm 66, and I think you can get to an age of 66. I remember 66 did not look like this when I was growing up. But because I remember my family being in the age I am now, and I'm like, they were old. They were done. They were on Barca loungers watching Price is Right. No offense. None taken. So, but that's not what that was like. But I didn't think they had dreams anymore. They lived their dreams. Or maybe their dream was to be in a Barca lounger at 66. I don't know. But what are your dreams? We are part of a philosophy that tells us everything is possible. Not only that, we're part of a philosophy that reminds us everything is probable. You know the difference between the two? Possibility stays out here. Probability comes right here and says, this is probable, you're going to do it or not. So what is probable for you? What are your dreams? You may have dreams from a long time ago that are begging you, bubbling up inside of you, asking you to revisit them. This is not a time for us to get quiet in terms of our activity of mind. It's the time for us to let the things that bubble up speak to us, tell us, ask us, what do you want to do with this? You have an idea? Why don't you act on it? Now, you may be able to go back and find out why you're not acting on it, and the reason's going to be, well, I acted on it 20 years ago and it didn't work. It's not 20 years ago anymore. It's now, and you know more. You are more. You understand more. So, the next quote I have for you is by Nelson Mandela. He says, there is no passion to be found in playing small. How many of you, and give me a show of hands, how many of you can look at your life and say, there were times in my life where I played small? Probably all of us. At some point in our life, we played small. Maybe right now you're playing small, but you don't know you're playing small because you think you're playing the game according to the rules. Well, I'm here to tell you, there are no more rules. Yes? You good? There are no more rules in how you get to live your life. You create the rules. I am a vivid renegade. I do not like laws and rules because if you tell me I can't, watch. I will. And that doesn't mean I'm like mean all the time. It means that I know that there are no such thing as limits. There are no limits. And if someone is trying to hold you back, frankly, you can't blame them because you're letting them. And that can be the culture, it can be politics, it can be anything. It's up to you. You are unlimited. There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling. I hate that word. In settling for a life less than the one that you are capable of. And that really brings me to the most important question, and that's this. What are you capable of? I don't think we have even scratched the surface of what we are capable of as divine beings. If I am the very presence of God, and you are the very presence of God, and if all there is God, understanding that that is a creative, energized impulse, if that's what I am, I am capable of enormous things. I am capable of climbing to the top of that mountain and perching myself up there and looking out and saying, yes, bring it on. Try bring it on for me. Let's just say it. Bring it on. Okay, how does that feel? Do you feel that it's coming out of your guts? Because that's what we need to be. You are capable of so much more than you have ever given yourself the opportunity to know. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what's happened up to this point. You are capable. You know, I always thought by this point I would have already won a Tony Award and an Oscar and all of this stuff, and I haven't, which is shocking to me. But I am not dead yet. So bring it on, bring it on. Now, what I mean is, when I look back, and I had an amazing career, but I also see where I sabotaged myself. I see where I wasn't equal to what I could have gotten. And it surprises me sometimes because I had so many opportunities to not screw it up. But now I look at it and realize all of that unfolded into the man I am today, and how I choose to use my talents today is this way. I don't need to be on a Broadway stage. I don't need to be in a movie. I still don't mind doing those things, by the way, if you're a casting director. But life always unfolds itself perfectly to right where you are. So here you are. You're sitting right here today. You landed today in this pandemic that's pretty much over. You landed here today to hear me ask you, what are you capable of? Do you think that's an accident? It is not an accident. The question is, are you willing to answer it? Yes. Was that you, Gilmore? Yes. Okay. So if you're willing to answer what you are capable of, your answer must be whatever I decide. That's the only answer to that question. What am I capable of? Whatever I decide to be capable of, right? Yep. Absolutely. So what are you going to decide? You are the very energized field of passion inside of you. It's there. Get quiet. Listen to it, Dale, and you will hear exactly what you need to hear. That's how this works. You are capable of whatever passion shows up. If an idea comes to you, why did it come to you? It could have gone over here to Price is Right. It can go anywhere. I love Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, because she really nails it for me. She's like, the ideas that come to you are yours until you give them away, until you throw them away, until you don't pay attention to them, and they're like, you're boring me. I'm going over here. And they go somewhere else. You know, I always talk about when I first came to Los Angeles as a writer and a director and as an actor, and I was signed by CAA, the biggest talent agency in town, and I was pitching a new show that I'd written, a TV show, and it was called Dinks, Double Income, No Kids. And it was the story of a gay man who lived with a straight woman and their friends. Anybody? No one would take it. They all said it was way too advanced, they weren't ready for it. And Will and Grace showed up about 3 years later. But a year after that, my agent said, we need to get you back out there. Let's pitch it again. I was like, no. They didn't want it, they're not getting it. And that was my attitude back then. I had just started Science of Mind. I think I was just finishing the first year of teaching. I was like, no, I'm spiritual now. I don't need the TV business. And then Will and Grace came on. I was like, unbelievable. So I had all these excuses. I'm never writing again. They stole my idea. All the reasons that I could give you for why I never took that next step. You, what's your story? You have the stories too. We all have them. But the time has come for us to put the stories down and listen to Kafka. You don't need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. The world will freely offer itself to you. That's exciting, isn't it? The world will freely offer itself to me if I just shut the hell up and listen. Really, it will freely offer itself to you. And most importantly, it will roll in ecstasy at your feet. So my dear friends, you are at choice here today. You showed up. You came in here to hear, to remember who you are. You came in here to be reminded that you are the passion of life, that everything you think you may be looking for, you already are. It's done. You are ready. You are prepared. You are capable of anything. You can choose anything to be, to do, to have. You just have to be equal to it in mind. You have to know the truth of who you are. And then what happens? They roll in ecstasy at your feet. I know for each and every one of you, today, a day filled with ecstatic adventure. You get to go out there after this service and be whoever you want to be, doing whatever you want to do, engaging in any activity that fuels your soul. Are you going to do it? And so it is. Namaste. Thank you.